Hey y'all, welcome back. In this video, we're going to be going over part 2, declaring and naming variables. In the previous lesson, part 1, we kind of got introduced to the idea of a variable and it being like a storage location for a value. And we had to label that storage location with a name. We're going to actually practice creating those boxes, creating those variables. And we call that declaring and naming a variable. All right, let's go ahead and get to it. So it's relatively easy. On the left side, we see the syntax. The syntax is variable type, and then we give the variable a name. So here we have some examples. The variable type is an int, and we name it blah. The variable type is short, we name it hi. Variable type is boolean, we name it what. The variable type is double, and we name it haha. So these are pretty bad variable names, all right? So you can name a variable name whatever you want. That's why I named them really whatever I wanted right here. A good variable name typically follows some conventional rules, which we'll get to pretty soon. But on the left side are some words that you might not quite understand. What is an int, short, boolean, double? Well, these are primitive variable types. And we're going to get to primitive variable types, listing them out in part 4 of this video. But we can think of it as the variable blah, right? Blah is the name of the variable. We have variable name as the second word. It's going to hold an int value. So the type on the left-hand side. The variable hi is the name of the variable, will hold a short value, the type of variable. The variable what, right here, the variable name, will hold a boolean value. And finally, the variable haha will hold a double value. So the syntax is pretty simple. You put the variable type first, then the variable name, and then you have a semicolon. So we've already talked about variables and we've talked about classes as well. We're going to get to this later on. But we have primitive variables, and then we have other variables called objects. Right now, we're going to focus on primitive variables, but in a later video, we will talk about object variables. Like we said earlier, think of declaring a variable as taking out a box. So we got a fresh box, and we label the box with what it will store. So we take out a fresh box, we label it kitchen, and it will store kitchen supplies. But it doesn't quite have any kitchen supplies just yet. Similarly, we take out a box, we label it int, and it's going to hold int values, but it doesn't quite hold int values yet. All right, let's talk about naming conventions. So good variable names are on the left-hand side. You're going to notice that they start with a lowercase word. All right, so the first letter is lowercase, and every word afterwards is the first letter is capitalized. Now, bad variable names are starting it with a capital letter, having punctuation, or not punctuation, but special characters, starting with a number, or having non-descriptive variable names like blah or x and y. Okay, so this is called camel case. And again, the reason why we do this is because of convention. We also have some rules that we cannot use reserved keywords. These are special words that can only be used for a specific purpose in Java, such as class. We've encountered the class keyword before, right? Public class in our class name. Also, variable types such as int, double, and any other variable type cannot be used as a variable name. We also have a static keyword. We've kind of seen it, but we haven't talked about it. And there's a lot more, and we'll talk about more as we need to. All right, in this video, we learned how to declare and name a variable. We had the variable type, the variable name, and then a semicolon. This is essentially taking out a box and labeling the box with what the box will store in the future. In the next video, part 3, we're going to actually assign values to these variables. or to continue the analogy, we're actually going to put things inside the box. All right, see you in the next video.